welcome back to New Rockstars Rogue Theory. I'm Philip Molina. This is a show where we bring together some fun nerds and they offer their ideas and theories about multiple topics. We cover multiple things. You guys lately have been wondering why we move on to other topics. We do like three or four topics each one of these episodes. Anything that's on our minds or in that nerdy zeitgeist. On today's episode, we have New Rockstars' own Eric Voss.
Oh, well, hello there. Hi.
Yeah. And then from the Godzilla vs. Podcast Zero.
That's
Is that
right, you got it.
We have Haley Mancini.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
And then we skipped over just our lifelong friend, David Dong.
David Dong.
But David actually has known, I think, Eric and I longer than our parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Well, you've always existed, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was part of the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's part of us
making
all.
us.
I see David in the smile of every child.
Reminder, you can listen to this show on Rogue Theory podcast feed. It comes out way earlier than the video version. On this episode, we have some Rogue Theories about Thor 4, It 2, Stranger Things 3, topics 4 and more, and anything with a number in it, basically, we'll talk about. But first up, we got to talk about It Chapter 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So final trailer for It Chapter 2 came out this week, and we get a lot more of the grown-up version of the Losers Club in it. It's 27 years after the events of the film. So first off, I'm down to hear first reactions, but I have a very specific question I want to get to in a second.
I mean, I thought it was scary. It was good. I was excited. I got scared. I get scared. I peed myself. No, I thought it was a really well done trailer as well. Like just kind of really putting everything together, and Pennywise was terrifying, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, you can't ask for a better adult cast. Like this, it sounds like this is the dream cast of the child actors. They all asked them after the first movie, so who do you want to play the adult version of yourself? And Finn Wolfhard was like, if you could get Bill Hader, that'd be great. And they did. They went and got Jessica Chastain and Bill Hader, and they, for the most part,
They asked Stephen Hawking who they would like to play him.
Yeah,
that's James McAvoy. Yeah.
I like that Finn Wolfhard is like, I'm Bill Hader now. Wow, I've been on SNL.
He doesn't understand how aging works.
What a storied career I've had.
Yeah. And Barry, I mean, who thought I'd go there? And yes, it's terrifying. One of the most terrifying moments for me is at the end where we see our Skarsgård actor playing Pennywise the Clown, but kind of out of makeup or semi out of makeup.
That was so scary.
Yeah, he just is like a dude that you'd probably see on like Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
So with that and Pennywise, and especially this like grotesque version of him, also Joker is coming out.
Oh yeah,
again, right?
Heath Ledger.
Like, you're the clown. Yeah.
Right, so I am thinking off of this clown thing and clowns creeping us out, and I think that's kind of a well-discussed, well-storied history of clowns hurting people.
Classic.
But yeah, you guys all took that class
Tale
too.
as old
Yeah,
as
that's
time.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Disney's doing their remake of clown murders.
There you go.
CG clown.
It's the first thing you study in forensic psychology. Is like
It's
you
like,
have to
so why
check
do
off.
clowns kill someone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Report to us the scariest clown you know. We'll put it
Yeah.
on the list.
Like a Mindhunter season that's only clown serial killers.
Just clowns.
Yeah. My question is actually adjacent to clowns. It's about carnivals.
Ooh.
What is it about carnivals that creep us out so much? And I'm going to point out to you the number of carnival scenes and creepy carnivals we've had in the last 12 months. It's insane. We've had Us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Joker has a scene at a carnival. Shazam takes place at a
That's
carnival.
right.
Part
yeah.
of the Mary Poppins movie. Toy Story 4.
Stranger Things,
Stranger
of course,
Things
yeah.
obviously has a major thing in it. Love, Simon, which was terrifying.
Just terrifying.
It's like carnivals are having a
Yeah.
moment, kind of like Keanu.
Yes.
And
yeah.
It's the
they're creeping
Carney
us out.
lobby. The Carney lobby was putting a lot of effort into
Finally.
this. Yeah, they've been saving up.
Just a
They-
briefcase full of tickets.
Yes,
that they open.
exactly. Trump is president. They saw their opening.
What does the Carney lobby push for?
More whack-a-moles.
More representation.
Yeah. Yeah, more
Carney
representation.
representation.
Yeah.
Carney right to vote.
They currently do not.
Over
because
my
most of them are
cold,
con.
dead body.
It's true. In Florida, they're allowed to vote now.
Well, not according
But
to the
they're
GOP legislature.
disenfranchised.
Yeah, that's right.
They're working on that.
So going into this thing with carnival, so I want to understand what it is about this place that's supposed to be for joy that internally just apparently creeps us out.
You know, maybe it's like a fake joy thing, because I remember as a kid, like every year our school would have a fundraising carnival, and you get really excited when you see all the lights, the colors. You think of the fun weekend that you are going to have, but then afterwards, maybe this is just me speaking, once you go there, it actually becomes like this weird sadness because you get separated from your friends. There's an odd number of your friends. You're always the one who has
You
to
were
go by
invited
yourself.
as a joke. It's a prank the whole time.
Yeah, and then they shut down the Hall of Mirrors.
Yeah.
And you're trapped
They
in there
dump
for the whole
blood all
weekend.
over you.
Yeah. And
You
they're
get
gonna take
kidnapped
that,
with the
Eric.
carnies. You become a carny for a couple years.
But it is this
Then-
thing where
yeah.
I've had most of that experience too, where it's that forced joy thing, and like we're gonna have so much fun, and then like by the end, like you have a little puke and a little blood on your shirt,
Right,
and
yeah.
like you cry in front of your friends.
I think it's the impermanence. I think
the
that
traveling
Oh,
element.
interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like the fact that it's like here one day and then gone the next, like there's something about that where it's like this whole world gets built and then one day the carnival's just gone. Like that's what I remember when I was a kid.
Huh.
Is that you'd see like a carnival come into town and like you'd just see it there. It would just be up and you're like, "Oh, cool, carnival came to town. Let's go." And you go do it and then 2 days later you drive by and it's just an empty field. That's creepy.
That's fascinating. It's
That's
Like it's a ghost
creepy.
It's a
event.
ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Every
exactly.
carny is a ghost too.
Right.
by
Yeah,
law.
well, for sure. Absolutely.
They're trying to cheer you up. You won this big plush bear, and you're just like,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter.
It
This
doesn't.
will be vacant in
Exactly.
24
In 24
hours.
This
just
bear
rip
is
its head off.
almost gone, and he's sticking out.
That's
No,
why
that
they're not
makes a lot of
registered to
sense.
vote. They're ghosts. This is just how it goes.
Disenfranchised ghosts. What do you think?
I wonder if it's like connected to, like I think carnivals are connected to like children's rite of passage, right? Like one of the ways.
First big times out for
yeah,
a
yeah.
child.
And so I think because a lot of these movies that we touch on are connected about kids, right? And like Spider-Man, they're all Stranger Things. They're always about like kids sort of being on their own for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think a carnival is like a place where that happens a lot.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's a good
absolutely.
point. Yeah.
Well, and like if you look at it through that lens, then you're definitely seeing the the over the top imagery that exists in a child's nightmares. Which I visit regularly.
Visit children's
Yeah,
nightmares.
exactly. No,
the
but
astral
this
plane.
idea of
You're
these,
Freddy?
yeah, basically I'm a plane jumper. These like stretched out, they're almost grotesque images that are supposed to be like for joy, but they're too extreme.
Yeah.
Off-screen producer was talking about it. He was talking about how the face of a clown is kind of an uncanny valley, right? Where
Oh,
it's like
sure.
it's not
yeah.
true what you're looking at. It has this falseness, but the entire carnival is that, right? Like the
Yeah.
Hall of Mirrors, the friends that supposedly like you but are really mean to you.
Right, right.
It
Yeah.
all has this like illusion element to it, but it's also these like stretched out morph.
Who was that
versions.
first guy that made a stretchy mirror that like made your face like this and was like, "Oh, this is hilarious."
Yeah, because most of them
This
are like,
is-
"Oh, I ruined another mirror."
Yeah.
The mirror factory's going under.
Yeah.
Unless
Like, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they built a carnival around a broken mirror factory.
They're like,
I
we
bet
gotta do
that's a
something.
big part of it, like, because you think a lot of the R.L. Stein Goosebump books
Mm-hmm.
were set at carnivals.
Stephen King has a whole novel set at a carnival too.
Yeah, it's like every kid has a memory at a carnival because that is the time where your parents just let you off on your own. It's kinda
Okay,
like-
wait, hold on. Genuine. We don't have a ton of time, but real quick, carnival memories. Go. I threw up on my mom's best friend, but it was all Sprite.
Ew.
And she started screaming, "Stop the ride! Stop the ride!" And they wouldn't stop.
And they're like, go another time. We're gonna air dry that Sprite. Mine is all my friends had wristbands so they could go all day on the rides. I didn't get one because my dad's like, I'm not giving you $10 for that. So I just wore a long sleeve jacket, rather than my vest that I always wore, and I just kind of ran in with them.
kids.
Most of the carnies didn't check, but one time I stood on the far end of the ride, and the carny just tapped my wrist. And it was kind of just like looked at me. He's like, I know. And that look stayed with me.
said,
And,
forever.
well, and I know sometimes you
Carney.
say, "Did you just tap my wrist?" I'm like, "No," and you say, "He's back."
I
Oh
just
my
felt
God.
a tingle on
Yeah.
my wrist.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, yeah, that's my haunting memory.
My only memory is I bought a giant turkey leg and I couldn't go on any of the rides because I was like,
The
I
big
can't.
turkey.
I'm busy, guys. Like,
I'm not allowed.
They're not gonna let me on this, and I'm working
And
on
it's the
it.
one time you went to a
Yeah,
carnival.
yeah.
Like turkey legs are great. That's all I know about carnivals.
I think mine is one of the rides that was like the one that would be a swing that would do like a swing that it'd spin and then all the swings would go up.
Oh,
at
the one
like
that's like from a pole.
yeah, they'd go up
Oh.
at like a 45-degree angle or something, and like I just remember being like on it and being like, this thing is rickety. I was like, this is falling apart. And also fortune tellers, which is another creepy part of it, are always at a carnival.
Yeah, but they're never with the carnival group.
Yeah.
They're just
They
they
set up
seek it
their
out.
own
There.
tent.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Have you guys
Gonna
ever
build
had your
my
fortunes
show.
read?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh, really? What did they tell you?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Really? Because it won't happen? Is it a fortune cookie? Is that what
I
you meant
don't
by having your
know.
fortune read?
I don't
you
know.
read a
I
cookie?
don't need to share my future with you.
Yeah.
All I got was one word.
Can you say Antichrist? Apparently.
That's it, yeah.
That's the only
can't.
person that would.
Hey,
Because I've already
sorry.
said Antichrist twice.
Yeah. Oh,
You
Devin?
called him up.
No.
Yeah. Soon is all.
I was
that
gonna be
I
a
was told.
doctor. Well, I'm being generous to myself, but I
did
thought
the pre-med thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was heavily pre-med. I was a microbiome major, and then my mom told me at one point, she was like, it's so funny that you're becoming a doctor because years ago I went to a fortune teller and they told me you would like do stuff in entertainment instead. And then I quit med school that day.
You did?
No, but
I was like,
It was a week's
you're
long
No,
impressionable.
yeah, exactly. I just needed it for her to come true.
This is the Patch Adams story too.
This
from
is
when I was-
it.
It's beautiful. I'm just gonna point out real quick, just to go slightly back on topic with carnivals. A thing about them being creepy too is that the predecessor to carnivals were kind of the World's Fair, right? And carnivals are supposed to show you these like
yeah.
amazing inventions. But the World's Fair is also where America got its first serial killer. If you
Not
guys
its
know
first.
that, huh?
Not its first.
I believe it's the
H.H.
first serial
Holmes?
killer.
No.
The Devil in the White City.
No, this is not the first serial killer.
Well, the first one we maybe know about.
Yeah, I think maybe
But
it's
the
the
Puritans
one
were
Untrue.
crazy.
There was a woman earlier in the late 1700s. Well, there's a couple, but one,
in the States.
yeah, that
Uh-huh.
was she would kill or like late 1700s, early 1800s, and she was a Black Widow, and she would
Oh,
murder her like
interesting.
husbands for money.
Well, what's
and
weird
stuff
is
like that.
I saw a photo and she looked exactly like you.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
But also I have face blindness,
also-
so
There you
it
go.
could be anybody.
I just want to let you guys know, like, a woman did that. Like,
Yeah.
the
That's
first
pretty
serial
cool,
killer
yeah.
was a woman.
Behind
okay,
every
in
great male
America,
serial killer, there's a female serial killer.
Yes, Black Widow.
But yeah, like the first one that I think got, I mean, that was the time of like muckraker journalism too. So there was like
Right, sensationalism
H.A.
in the
Holmes.
media,
Yeah,
too,
he was
yeah.
like kind of representative of that era and like the swell of journalism at the time too.
I mean, H.H. Holmes was the one that, like, his story was also, like, in a weird way, the American dream. Like, he,
Yeah, it was
he
super weird,
benefited
yeah.
from the World's Fair being in Chicago because all these, like, young people and young women, young couples were moving to Chicago in that moment looking for jobs, looking for opportunities. And he set up this murder hotel. He's like, come stay here. You can get a great deal. I'll keep you here for free.
Yep.
And then he just basically set up, like, weird gas chambers, trap doors.
Yeah, trap-
a house of
fucking
horrors.
crazy.
Like, what did
yeah.
you expect?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
he,
it's
he
called
was
Murder
he
Hotel.
was a capitalist. He was an opportunist.
Yeah,
he was a
that's
very ambitious man,
Yeah.
and that's
And
how
what-
he viewed himself.
And the Voss
that's-
family empire was started.
That's
there,
how we
too.
started. Yeah,
Yeah, there
we
you
bottled
go.
up
Yeah,
their tears
the
in
water.
the
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think suddenly it's became a Halloween episode, which is fine. But instead,
Well, we're celebrating another happy event. Happy birthday, by the way.
happy
Jen. Yeah, when you're watching
birthday.
this. Yeah, we got a special surprise later, I've been told.
Oh my God, you guys
Yes.
gonna kick
Yes,
my ass
awesome producer.
again?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Every
How'd
birthday.
you know?
Yeah.
That's why I flew in, baby.
That's how I stay in my family each year. Moving on from my birth is another. Nope, there's no segue. Thor 4, guys. Thor 4 is now.
Thor 4, more Thor.
Yeah, exactly. Thorier 4.
The whole time I was like, why don't they just call it Thor? And with the 4 as the.
As the O. or
But
something,
I
or
was
the
like,
H.
no, because that's Thor. And
Yeah.
so
That's
that's
This could be the
Thor.
H.
They learned their
Oh,
lesson with
darn.
Fan Four Stick. A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
okay, right,
Mr.
right.
Fan Four Stick. So they announced this week that Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi is returning to direct another Thor movie. But here's what's crazy about it. Who would have guessed that Thor would be the Avenger with the most solo outings, especially
Yeah.
based on the first two films?
Mm-hmm.
So why do we think that is? Why does Thor have 4 movies and Iron Man has 3?
Well, I
and
think
Cap
because
has
those
some?
first two were so forgettable. It's almost like
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok was the reboot of it,
Right.
and this now Thor 4 is like a direct sequel to Ragnarok.
Do you
as
think
opposed
then
to
we're
the
going to
fourth.
get 3 movies
I
and
hope
they
so.
started over at Ragnarok?
That'd be fun.
I liked the first two, though, to be honest. Or at least.
Name 16 things you liked about each one of them.
All right.
She can't. She can't. She can't.
No, I mean, I thought I thought it was like a good, because I didn't know much about Thor, like if the comic book character, and didn't Kenneth Branagh do like the first
He
one?
did, yeah.
I thought he did a pretty dang good job.
Well,
of,
he
like,
took it a Kenneth Branagh route, which
like
was
a very Shakespearean.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
So I mean, I was like, oh, that's cool. I liked it. I thought it was a cool entry point. But then I mean, I feel like this what Taika Waititi did is so different that it is like its own thing, though. It is like a full reboot. I agree.
So they've started fresh.
Yeah.
I think once you saw like new fun Thor or newer, because you've been kind of going down that road. Like fun, like is it though Thor? Like you were like, I'm not done with this guy. You know, like I want this new energy, because you didn't really have him back for those first two series. So
It's almost like when you discover like a fun conversation on the way out of a doorway or something, and then you end up doing the thing where you stand in the doorway and you don't want to leave.
Right.
Like,
it's like, I thought this party was dead, but actually I just
actually-
found the party.
it died when I came.
Yeah. I am the reason.
I'm the reason that
And
everybody.
they're like, can you please unblock the bathroom door, please? We're trying to. But our conversation.
If you compare it to like Captain America or Iron Man, both of those movies kind of found themselves right away. The first Avenger, the first Iron Man. So it's like Thor kind of took a bit before we found the version of Thor that everyone really, really loved.
Well, it's because he's a god. It's hard.
It's
It's
hard
so
to
much
play
harder
more
because
than
it's
human.
like
It's like the
there's-
Superman challenge.
Yeah,
Sure.
or Godzilla.
Ah.
Like it's very difficult. Like Godzilla is constantly rebooted in different ways because he's so powerful. There's so many different ways you can take him, and not like one's not necessarily better than the other. They're just very different.
Well, in some ways they kind of nerfed him, right? Like they like made it so that he is more fallible. Honestly, they made him stupider.
Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah,
but that also allows like the big confident stupid idiot is one of my favorite characters that you can.
Oh, he's great.
Play.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really interesting point though, because Thor and a lot of times is compared to Superman. And I know you said Godzilla, but my point is Superman, and I don't know how to support the Godzilla one because you're the expert on that.
Like kill Superman easily in a fight.
Well, and I think no one's arguing with you
Right, good.
about
All
that
right.
except for everyone.
No. Yeah, right.
But Superman often has the issue, your rebooting point stands where people are like, look, we want to see Lex, and then we basically want to see Zod, and then we're kind of out because there's not a lot more you can do with Superman. I mean, there is, but cinematically
you
it's
could
very
have
difficult.
like atomic fire breath light him up or something.
Yeah, well, and also
Maybe from like a giant,
there are
incredibly powerful lizard.
yeah, Godzilla versus Superman would make $1 billion.
Yeah.
for
Oh
sure.
my
Yeah.
god, that'd be great.
So do you guys think? Okay, I'm gonna take you on a different path here, though. So it sounds like we're all like, "Yay, Thor has a new trilogy, probably," or let's keep in mind Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are basically like, "Hey, I think we're done here." And he's, Chris Hemsworth is coming from the same time as those guys. Is there a chance that Thor 4 will be the last Thor?
It's possible that maybe this is the last movie that has Thor in the title. Then Thor just teams up with other people in their movies. We saw that with like the Asgardians of the Galaxy at the end of Endgame.
Or
Right.
technically Hulk.
Or Hulk, yeah. I mean, Marvel can't do their own
They
movie.
can't, but at the same time,
Hulk,
they almost were like, you know what? Why don't we just feature him everywhere else?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I think what's really great is they finally found a version of Thor that seems like it's natural for Chris Hemsworth to play. So he may be done, but maybe he's like, I found this new character that I kind of want to exhaust. I want to go all the way to the point. So I would say it's.
I want to play him fat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to play that version of it.
Play taller.
Yeah.
Like they called him, Tony Stark calls him Point Break in the first Avengers. They call him Lebowski. It seems like they kind of found a version of Thor that is in
He's
this
really
world
good.
of the Avengers, and the way that like they found a version of Cap that really works for Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Finally, they found a version of Thor, and I would be really surprised if this was the last Thor.
I agree that it's not the last one, just because he's handing it so much of it off to Valkyrie, and she's such a
Sure,
baller
yeah.
character that I think they're just gonna set it up to weave into her whole franchise.
To become a female Thor equivalent, like in the
Yeah.
comics, but pass it off to Valkyrie instead.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like of two minds on this, because on one hand, you know that because they're switching out like Cap and Iron Man for at least like for this next wave of whatever's happening, you want some kind of like somebody from the old guard around. We'll probably have Hulk, but having Thor around like is really still like we're still the Avengers. This is still the like just someone part of the old team. But on the other hand, I'm sort of like, well, it's got 5, and where would you put the 5 in the word Thor?
Yeah.
Thors.
Thor.
And then that's exactly
oh,
multiple
yeah,
Thors.
there we go.
Thor
Thors.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 8, right? 2 fours? I'm so confused.
Not 4s.
Double 4. Yeah.
No.
Oh, 16. We're going cubed. Got it.
Yeah. The 16 things I like about Thor. Number 1. Thor.
Squared.
That's interesting. I think that I just remembered this theory that somebody was bringing up that also they might use it as other ways. So Guardians of the Galaxy is one way to get into cosmic stuff, but so is Thor. And then if you have Thor 4, and then if you saw 4 and it was made of fire and there was a circle
Wait a
around
minute.
it.
The
Hold
Incredibles.
on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Incredibles crossover. Godzilla. just
There
the 4.
it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, Fantastic Four can be a cosmic entity. It could
Absolutely.
be. I actually saw that theory that they're like, oh, maybe that's the way to bring them in instead of like explaining, hey, where have you guys been the whole time? It's like, oh, we were busy doing something, or you came from elsewhere or something.
Yeah.
Probably not though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more likely the Fantastic Four gets introduced. That might be the next big tentpole thing. In fact, if you're watching this after Comic-Con, you may be like, yeah, duh, it's going to come out in May 2022.
Hey, all right.
Yeah,
Dummies.
exactly.
Should have been in
Who's
Hall
that?
H.
Is that me? Was that supposed to be me?
That's the voice collectively of
Fight.
our
Yeah.
yes,
Birthday
of our
fight.
commenters. Yeah.
Birthday fight.
Oh, you haven't had your birthday fight yet?
I will at
Let's
the end.
do
I think.
it.
It's coming at the end. I think it's one idea that I really liked is someone bought Avengers Tower, right? And that's we saw that in Spider-Man Far From Home. One theory is that the new occupant could be the Fantastic Four, could be the Baxter Building.
There was a 4 in the like signage too on the building, I believe, right?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, cool.
I believe
That's
so, or
awesome.
there was
Cool,
some
cool.
hint to
Very
to a
cool.
They're
4,
gonna
yeah.
have to work pretty hard to make me interested in.
In the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
They
Because
got
of
a lot
the-
of work to do, but
they
they
got
can.
a lot of work to do.
Because you're a hater, or because of the things they've already done.
Because of the things they've already
Yeah,
done.
the
Yeah,
damage
'cause of the
they've
things-
done,
and,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess like I'm also of the mindset that I hope that they start just in general with super, like we're at a point where we're rife for new superheroes as a whole to be starting. So I'm kind of like I might need a Marvel break.
Okay.
Is also just where I'm at. Yeah.
But also, I mean, even or a break from the mainstream ones that we know, and like,
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
shortage of characters.
No, absolutely
that they
not.
could
Yeah,
focus
just
on for a
yeah,
bit.
but just like it feels like a lot of permutations now, and I kind of want to like now go like I like the idea of following Valkyrie for a while or something, just because I'm like, oh, I didn't know that much about her. That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, where I'm like with Fantastic Four, I'm like we keep putting them up at bat.
Yeah.
Keep
You gotta
disappointing.
imagine like a nerd like Kevin Feige's probably like, oh, finally I have a chance to do it the
Yeah,
right way.
Yeah, with
exactly,
two dolls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah.
That's Kevin Feige.
It's I have my take on Kevin Feige. That is his voice now.
See, this is
Yeah,
exactly
that's it.
Feige
That's how he
because he tends
talks.
to like sing a little.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
always
that
does.
sing-songy quality.
Action.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Just put a Marvel Studios cap on there. You go.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm really impressed with all of these ideas, guys, and I think we solved
you.
what
We did
Thor
it.
4 is going to be. They're gonna stop making Marvel movies. You said.
That's
Yes.
it. That's it. They're
Yeah.
gonna
No
say
more.
it.
Yes.
I'm super excited. Cool. Let's take a quick break to thank some sponsors that bring the show.
All right.
New Rockstars Rogue Theory is brought to you by some very nice sponsors. Summertime is convention season for me. We got VidCon, Comic-Con, ConCon, all the cons. And when I travel, I can't pack a low-quality disposable razor, but Harry's has me covered. They make high-quality, travel-friendly shaving supplies and razors that are only $2 a blade. A Harry's razor is as essential in your suitcase as a bathing suit or your entire Funko Pop collection. You travel with those, right? They're made in a German factory to the highest standards, and if you don't like your shave with a Harry's razor, just let them know. They'll give you a refund. This summer, refresh your wallet and your face with a Harry's trial set. It comes with a weighted ergonomic handle for an easy grip, a 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip, and trimmer blade for a close shave, rich lathering shave gel that'll leave you smelling great, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Listeners of Rogue Theory can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/rockstars. Make sure you go to harrys.com/rockstars to redeem your offer, and thanks so much for supporting the show. By the way, if you want to know how good it looks when we come back from this break, I used a Harry's razor to line up the top of my beard line today, so check that out and see if you like it. All right, back to it. Welcome back. I'm told before we move on, this is the part where I'm supposed to not know what is happening.
Yes. Okay. So, Stranger Things season 3, guys. My favorite thing about it was the ice cream flavors that they introduced at the ice cream store in the mall that Steve works at, Scoops Ahoy. And
This is a napkin.
This is a napkin. It's
But
a
imagine
table
if you
setting.
fold it in
Wow.
half.
That's right.
It's
Yeah, I'm gonna do some
Tastes
origami.
just like napkin.
Apparently, Stranger Things and Netflix did like a cross-promotional thing with Baskin Robbins where you can actually go and get those flavors. So there's 2 flavors that we have here. There is USS Butterscotch, and then there's apparently 11's Heaven, which sounds like hell, right? Yeah. So
Have those been under the table this whole time?
Yeah. Yes.
So these are jars of milk.
Yeah. I've been sitting on them. They taste great.
warm
But
them.
for Philip's birthday, I thought we could taste test these flavors.
Oh, yay.
All right, look at this.
Happy
All right.
So we have a
Ooh,
scoop of
this
each
looks
in each of
good.
these
A scoop of
bowls.
each. All right, so we got to monetize this still in our traditional on-brand
do?
way.
Dang it. Okay.
So we're gonna do a breakdown.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's break down the
Let's do
flavor.
a breakdown of
Okay.
these
Zoom
ice
and
cream
enhance with our tongues.
flavors. So let me know some missable details as you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Surprising crunch to which one's which? Do we know?
The butterscotch, I think, has that.
The tan one is the butterscotch, I think.
Which is which Demogorgon or what is it?
It's just USS Butterscotch.
Butter. Oh yeah, butter.
This is the
I
one
like-
that they actually eat in an episode.
I like 11's Heaven.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not. That's the thing, though. I'm not a huge butterscotch person. So for butterscotch,
Yeah, you look
I
like
do
a normal
this.
human being, not
Thank
made of
you.
butterscotch
I'm not
in any
a
way.
butterscotch. I'm not a butterscotch person. And
There's
The
nothing
rumors
wrong
about
with being
me.
a butterscotch person.
Yeah, you would look
We've
like
come
you
a
made of
long way in
butterscotch.
society. We still don't have voting rights, but we're
But
joining the Carney
not like
lobby.
the Carnies, yeah.
All right.
Missable moment. There's a crunch. There's like a crunchy toffee thing going on.
Oh yeah, and the heaven one. Is
In
that the bones
in-
of Barb?
That's what 11 just has.
Oh, it's like that's 11's Heaven. Just
Yeah.
crunching right into.
She just like is like, I'll be right back. She goes into upside down, takes a bite out of Barb. Come
Take a
back.
bite of Barb.
Yeah, they
Take a
don't
bite
know.
of Barb.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, the Eggos are just like to hide. Like, yeah, I love Eggos, sure. I love me some
little
Barb.
bone,
Bone
like, sticking
marrow, though. Guys, while we do this, actually, I want to move on to another topic because I, you know what? I don't know that the audience it loves us eating ice cream, especially in podcast form.
Into the microphone.
Yeah,
Nom.
exactly.
Nom.
But we
Your
do
barbarous
We
bone.
We can-
Beth's birthday?
Beth's
Yeah.
birthday. Yes, this does feel like my Beth birthday. So let's go into a discussion though about something that's happening on our channel, and I want to kind of get the audience involved here, but you guys definitely also weigh in. And I want to talk about spoilers because
yeah.
I feel like. You know, we're in this kind of precarious place. Eric is more dealing with
You
it.
could
So
have told us before that you were going to
Why
talk
didn't you
about
warn
it.
us that we
Yeah.
could talk about
Yes.
spoilers?
that's what happened. But yeah, Eric, why don't you explain kind of the situation going on?
So this is something that we've been dealing with for the past like 4 years of doing breakdowns. We'll do trailer breakdowns where we speculate things that might be in the movie. We'll do immediate like movie reviews and reactions, or post-credit scene breakdowns where we have to kind of do them, 24 hours after the movie. And what I found, because I go through the comments, people tweet at me stuff. Everyone kind of has like a different perception of what constitutes a spoiler and the proper timing of when you're allowed to talk about things publicly without a spoiler warning. And what kind of makes us hard is we try to do spoiler warnings at the beginning of every video just to kind of cover our bases. But sometimes just so that people know what conversation we're talking about, we kind of have to put something in the thumbnail and in the title of the video just to allow all the people who want to talk about this stuff to find our video. And every time we do it, we get some blowback from people who thought that maybe we talked about it too soon. And the rule of thumb that I've kind of used in the past that I just kind of got from just talking with friends about things, when do I think is the proper amount of time to wait before we talk about stuff with friends? If it's a TV show like Game of Thrones, usually give people a day. One day, 24 hours. And then if it's a movie that's really popular, that's easy to find, or go to any like AMC or Cinemark or whatever to go watch it, give people about a week. So before that point, cover everything with a spoiler warning. And then after that, if you want to just come out of the gate and say what we're talking about, then you're probably safe. But recently with Spider-Man Far From Home, a lot of folks had some differing opinions.
Let's be real specific here. So what Eric was mentioning earlier about being able to find our videos, It's very specific. It's search engine optimization. It's SEO. So you need, in order to get people to see your video as the answer to their question. So YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world, right? Google's number 1, and then YouTube. So many people go to YouTube to ask a question, and they might be based on a theory or something that they've read about or they've heard about. So quick spoiler, actually, for Spider-Man Far From Home. When Mysterio dies at the end, it seems like perhaps maybe he didn't. And Eric had some theory about that. And recently, the video that was posted had, like, I think it was Mysterio Not Dead.
Yeah,
was the title.
Yeah, something like Mysterio Fake Death.
Or Fake Death or something. And then the thumbnail, what did it show?
I think Still Alive. It was a picture of Mysterio in his dying moments.
And then how far after the movie had come out was that video posted?
This is what the tricky thing is. After the US release, it was about 2 weeks, which I think is well outside the window, in my opinion. But
I think 2 weeks is my window, by the way. I think a
exactly
week is
2 weeks.
actually... Yeah, 2 weeks to a month. I think TV, I agree. It's one day. It's one day if it's something as like, you know, beloved as Game of Thrones or something, where it's like people get together and have parties for it. It's almost like one of those things where it's like, good luck. That's on you to stay. It's like a sports game.
But that's the thing. I would argue the release of movies like Avengers Endgame and Far From Home are bigger than the Super Bowl. More people watch those things than watch the Super Bowl.
But
and
I
have
think
things that they search for after.
I think there's a difference. I think there's a big difference actually with the movies and TV thing, because with TV it's so much more accessible. So in a 24-hour period, you could find a way to be like, okay, well, I didn't have time to watch it last night, but here I am on my phone. I can download it.
You can watch it at home,
right?
as opposed
exactly.
to go to a theater,
Going
pay
to,
money to see
exactly.
it.
An
So
on-demand experience.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Because for me personally, I love seeing movies, but I do. So we're all improvisers and stuff. I coach a lot at night and that sort of thing, and I've been working a lot. So getting out to the theater can be really tough for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think 2 weeks is good. Now, but I'm less sensitive than other people. I don't care about spoilers.
And that's the thing.
Right.
That's why I ask, like, what constitutes a spoiler. I'll also point out Sony did something really confusing with Spider-Man Far From Home release. They released it on a different day in several countries. So while we got it on July 2nd, the UK and a lot of other countries got it July 5th. And they always release it a week earlier in countries like China and in the like Middle East. They'll release it early because they don't have a lot of piracy laws. So if they were to release it in China on the same day as the US, a lot of Chinese audiences will just watch the pirated version. They won't make as much money. So they always release it early to get ahead of those pirates. But what I ask of people is, like, imagine this real scenario. Yes, some people compare someone spoiling something to someone barging into a room and saying Mysterio dies.
Right.
But imagine the flip side of that. Imagine you're with a group of friends and you have all seen this movie, and there's one person there a month after a movie comes out and says, I actually haven't seen it yet, so you have to all stop talking about what you're talking about.
Jake, it's our friend Dave. We have a friend.
He has done that.
Literally.
Yeah.
Our friend Jake.
But
It kind of,
You
that's
abide by
also...
it?
I just because it's
To me, that's also a dick
I give
move.
him a lot of crap for
Yeah.
it.
That
I'm
is
like,
as
it's
much of a
ridiculous.
dick move,
I
I
agree.
think, as someone who
I
barges
agree.
into
And
a
Jake,
room.
if you're listening,
let's talk about wrestling instead.
you've heard me say it. Yeah, that's it. No,
Yeah.
I call Jake out about it all
I
the
know.
time. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I'm gonna
It
hear
has
about this
been a
tomorrow
time.
night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
let me
will.
add the context of our jobs, honestly. So for instance, on this Mysterio video, that is something that was in the zeitgeist at that moment. Put it maybe another 2 weeks out or something. Are people looking that up anymore, or did they already find the answer somewhere else because someone else didn't mind sharing it? So now multiply that times every major property that we talk about, so Avengers Endgame or Far From Home or a Star Wars movie or something, and then every single thing that we could talk about that is at the front of our fans' minds. Our subscribers are buzzing about this, and so are we, and we're so eager to talk about it. We can't put out there that we're talking about it. For weeks, everyone else has talked about it. And then we honestly miss out on those views. We miss out on that income, honestly. And then that's how our first successes for this channel were the post-credit videos. We did some other stuff that did okay. But when we started sharing, hey, you just saw, when we started this, what movie had just come out? The Godfather. So The Godfather had this post-credit scene. Let's explain it to you of what it is. When the diehard...
Sam Jackson walked in.
Yeah, exactly. When Sam Jackson says, I want to talk to you about a Godfather initiative. When the movie comes out, the diehard fans saw it opening night, and they're like, man, I really want to know what's gonna happen with Sam Jackson coming out and inviting him to the initiative. We started making videos that came out like right that night. Those were our first videos to consistently hit over 1 million views. Those videos are why we have jobs doing this. Those videos are why we have a set now, why we're able to pay David's rent every year.
I keep moving to more expensive.
Right,
exactly.
Because of this. So it just created a situation where we have this business that kind of requires us to be right on the cutting edge, right in front of the moment. But if we were to wait, if we were to put, for instance, is blank really dead and a big question mark, because of the search rules, we will not rank for that video. No one will find our video.
Right.
Yeah, and what's also frustrating is like even deeper than like the economic argument. It's frustrating to be an authority on this stuff and to have people tweeting at you constantly, and just because of a fringe minority of folks are insisting on waiting.
Speak specifically what you mean, how people kind of harass you about it.
There are people who are like, why haven't you made anything right away? I see cyberbullying, which whatever, I don't care, I'm over that now, but it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I'd rather assume that like if you cared about this movie that much, you would see it in the opening week. I know if you have a job, this is just my opinion, but I kind of want to know what people think about this. If you have a job or a difficult travel schedule, then it kind of becomes your own burden. There are plenty of tools you can use to filter your own experience.
Well, that's what real fast. Sorry, dude. What I was going to say about my spoiler rules are for people in person. Like that's like for your friends and stuff like that.
Because Eric doesn't go to your house.
Yes, exactly. If there's something you really want to see that you're a big enough fan, and then you don't have the time, and then it's on you to stay offline. Because honestly, this is the same thing as sports games, but like when people tape them in the 90s and stuff like that, it's the same thing. It's that is on you. So
I mean, agree. Yeah. But the one thing that's tough though is like, if I don't have time, I realize, like, okay, I need to stay off. I need to do things. I need to manage where spoilers are going to be coming from. But sometimes that might mean I can't use Facebook or YouTube at all because they will show you
in the recommended on the sidebar.
They will just show you with thumbnails, and it's like just characters who are at the end and stuff like that. And I can't control that without literally ending use of those platforms.
So that's
we can't control that either.
That's YouTube's
wouldn't it be amazing if
problem.
YouTube let you offer a different set of what we call metadata, but thumbnail and title on when it's a recommended video?
Yeah, I mean that's more. It's more on them than the people uploading. Is like everybody should have the right to upload if they have to.
We don't
and
choose
on Twitter
where
though, you can definitely go in and mute.
Yeah, Twitter makes it very easy.
Which if I cared enough,
YouTube should just add a mute for certain topics.
Yeah, that's what they should have.
The topic mute would be great.
Yeah. But I would also say like, if you're in that and we're getting to a very, very specific situation, set of people who can't see a movie in the opening week, if you're at that point, would it hurt you that much to stay off YouTube? If you have the kind of job where you have to go on YouTube, are you really the kind of person who can't go see a movie within the opening week of its release? Probably not. I think we're getting down to literally 30 people, and they're all the ones who tweeted at me when we did that video.
Yeah.
So, and
you want to
then,
save me by name?
Cyberstones may break my cyber bones.
But I am not a butterscotch person.
You're eating straight out of the carton, by the way. How much did you eat?
I do not want to show how little there's left.
One last point I want to get in on this. I think there also is a bit of like martyrdom and philosophical argument. Really, what we really try to do with those post-credit scene breakdowns, and in the first week when we do make videos about it, we think, would a person who had not seen the movie look at this thumb and title and know it's a spoiler?
So
a lot of times people are like,
"This is
we posted a video, Stranger Things. It was last week's episode of Rogue Theory.
Spoiler if you haven't finished Stranger Things.
Right, it's just a picture of Hopper in the final episode, looking just kind of emotional, and people were like, "That's a spoiler."
That's not
really.
A spoiler.
Had you not seen Stranger Things season 3, you would not know what that's referring to. So a lot of what we do is kind of thinking about the psychology of people watching or scrolling through YouTube right now. Yeah. Unless someone else already told you that this happens at the end, you would not look at our thumb objectively and say that's a spoiler.
People want to be butthurt.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another way to say it, but that's what you mean by martyrdom, right? Because I feel like that's
people want a reason to be upset, and they look at something where this person is in a category who engages in this kind of behavior rather than judging them independently. And if I had just looked at this one actor on its own, would it be a spoiler? Really, the bigger problem is the broader conversation that people don't want to be a part of, but don't want to take any responsibility to extract.
Yeah, that's whatever. I mean, like we went right into what we thought about the new Godzilla film, right after it came out, and it's like. But the fans that follow that, I mean, they should know that we're gonna do that. That's kind of
we
like
expect
unassumed,
our fans
yeah.
to know that. But at the same time, I think the best argument is kind of what we pointed out, that they might not have been seeking out that content, and it might have been it might have been thrown into their bedroom.
Then it's still
basically.
not your guys' fault. That's the search engine's fault.
Sure, but I do want to be active in this, and I want to find a way to make things better, honestly, because I don't. Well,
screw you people. Go figure it out.
Yeah, but it's honestly like I've gotten some messages that I got some messages that were like, I'm disappointed in you. You know, like
your
like
mom.
This, well, yeah, my mom didn't. She had a busy week. She was not able to catch Spider-Man. Yeah, but she had just, hey babe, just want to let you know I'm disappointed in you. Yeah. Adios. All right, so. Yeah. So I want this to be productive though. So Eric, I want you to share what you think you would like to propose the rules for the channels, spoilers, and then you guys in the audience, you can be sharing your thoughts in the comments, but also on newrockstarsfan.com, we're gonna add a question there of just what you guys think we should do. Hopefully you now understand the context of if we don't talk about the thing and if we don't put it in the thumbnail and in the title, then we do not rank in the search and our video significantly underperforms. The brands that we work with get mad at us, our channel starts to do worse, and then we're fired. You know?
Yeah. What we're looking for is some kind of checklist or a legal standard is I guess what we're saying. A simplified rule that we can just stick to every time that respects people's schedules and respects people's viewing habits so that we can all kind of get along, and then we can go back and reference it. And I would like to create some kind of industry standard, not just for us, but for other channels, for other media publications, so that people can go back and be like, no, let's all stick to this. And it's just a way to provide civility that goes both ways.
No, it shouldn't be on you.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be on you. It should be on YouTube. If you guys have a problem with it, go harass YouTube. Really, I mean, that's their search engine. That's what it turns up. That's fine. That's
I really like that idea of like, let's actually start asking YouTube. You can start tweeting at YouTube, and they do respond, and we can send some emails. In the meantime, until they change something, I am willing to meet in the middle here a little bit. Well, we might take a hit based on what our fans ask us to do, but also, we can only go so far. So go to newrockstarsfan.com. Let us know what we should do about our titles, our thumbnails.
YouTube should have like an add-on that lets you do like the thing that iMessage lets you do with invisible ink, so that you have to like wave your mouse over it to even see what the caption is. But it would show up in your search results, but it's kind of like, like a blurred out porn.
Yeah, Reddit has the redacted option.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just redact your mouth every time.
Yeah.
It would just look like all of my YouTube was porn every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So let us know your guys' thoughts, and then Eric, you'll make another video.
Yeah, we'll follow up on this.
For some reason, I'm not feeling so great. I don't
know.
It's because you're getting old.
No,
yeah.
I just literally
my tummy's cold.
I had a milk bubble come to my throat a second ago.
You guys can't.
Anybody
if you're listening, you can't. You ate a lot of this, but I do want some.
I have 4 more tubs that I've been sneaking bites of down here. So.
I feel like if I yelled into that, I could get an echo out.
Speaking of ectoplasm, there was a Ghostbusters picture, guys, a set photo from the new Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, Finn Wolfhard is in because he's in anything that was rooted in the 80s. But what's really interesting about that, too, is that he was dressed as a Ghostbuster in last season of Stranger Things. But he was Venkman. But in this, what a lot of people are thinking based on this picture, and we'll put it up in the video version of this, but for the audio listeners, what you're seeing is some children, but specifically the little girl, she's wearing glasses that basically look like Egon's glasses.
Oh.
So people are thinking this might be a family, and we're looking at Egon's wife and kids. Harold Ramis, the actor, passed away, so it would be a way to feature him in a legacy form, is rooting it through his family. So one, do you guys think that's what they're doing? 2, and is that the kind of Ghostbusters sequel you're excited about?
Well, they did say, Jason Reitman kind of talked about, we don't know what the connection is yet between this family and the original lineup, and he said something weird like the family doesn't know yet either. So if they are related to Egon, it might be like, maybe a different name, and then they look up the fact that they were related. Yeah, there was
or they
like
find
an
in their basement
or
or something like maybe he's just died recently, and then they're going through his stuff or whatever, and they find what is it called, the ghost catcher thing.
The
the
trap.
The trap, yeah.
Yeah, the proton.
Yeah, or the trap itself
Yeah.
or whatever. But it's kind of like Jumanji, right? Like they find it and they
Yeah.
open it and monkeys run out. Yeah.
Did you see
Ghost
Ghostbusters?
monkeys.
Carnies go
Ghost
out
monkeys.
everywhere.
yeah.
Definitely a carnival in
Yeah,
Disney's
there's
Ghostbusters.
no-
Better be a carnival.
Cap it.
There
yeah.
probably will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say I'm completely uninterested.
In the new
Please
Ghostbusters?
stop. Yeah,
Really?
like just
Why is that?
like I mean, first of all, the fact that it's so fast on the heels of the girl Ghostbusters, it feels like it's like, okay, guys, don't worry, we made another one.
You feel
for
like they gave in kind of to the
Feels
idea
like
of
an apology a little bit.
which is also dumb because they shouldn't. But then also we've had some great Ghostbusters. This is one franchise where I'm like, that really didn't need to. It's like the Three Amigos. It's like, it's really, to me, Ghostbusters was always based around those actors too. Like that's one of those things where it just doesn't ring the same. Like you can reboot a lot of things and it'll be fine, as we've seen. But like certain things were really almost, they were written for those actors. Like written for those actors.
Or those actors were involved in the writing.
And they absolutely were. And so it's, I don't know. To me, I'm just kind of like, no.
I mean, I'm open.
No,
No,
I'm not,
next.
I'm open to it. I'm worried it would be more of a like, here's all the greatest hits of Ghostbusters, guys. Like in the older ones, when I want, if we're going back, I want to see a newer take on it. Like that set photo they showed, they were like in suburbia and like kind of had like a smaller town like feel to it.
Ooh, like Poltergeist or something.
Yeah. I would, or like
that's cool.
Like Frighteners, or like something like a smaller out of the big city of New York, like. Maybe even just that change in setting would like refresh it a bit for me.
Give it what's the house, the haunted house in New Hampshire in the Northeast where all the bad things have happened?
The Amityville
White
House?
Yeah, the Amityville House. Yeah, like kind of that feel.
Yeah. Because if we just do the lapse of like and here's the library where they caught that one ghost.
Right.
And here's,
It'd be fun to see something in the world of Ghostbusters that doesn't necessarily have to connect to, because I felt like even the Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig one felt like it was still too derivative and
Rehashy.
referential.
Yeah,
they had cameos from Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson. Like they all showed up and they were in the same kind of firehouse. Like I think the world of a world where you have like exterminators for ghosts is super fascinating. Like tell a story in that world, but don't necessarily like show which one is the truest,
I
take
agree.
on
Yeah, I don't
Ghostbusters.
mind blowing out the world. I'm down with that. If that's the case, then it's going to be totally different. Then that's fine. But yeah, like you guys hit on it. It's like, okay, so coolest rule of this world of all time. Okay, no, we're just going to keep rehashing it instead of like building it out and making it its own other world series.
So, well, speaking of that, then why make it Ghostbusters, right? Like, there's so room.
Exactly.
There's so much
Something,
room
why
to
make it
comedy.
Jumanji? It's like because the brand, it's just popular
the
with
brand.
fans.
Yeah, and like at least Jumanji just has the concept of being trapped in a game, or that the game comes
and the
to
game
life.
can go
kind of feeling.
anywhere. And
I mean,
stuff
I'll
like
say
that.
why make Zathura, right? Like which makes it look like
to make me
Jumanji.
cry.
Yeah.
But definitely the concept of ghosts and the genre of comedy, that to me feels like an intersection that you could do in a million different ways. We wrote a terrible movie that was about ghosts
tried to.
comedy or whatever. Yeah, we should have just called it Ghostbusters.
I wrote a pilot that got me
Yeah.
many jobs. That was like a X-Files crossover with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like that sort of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like,
Was it actually a crossover? Of
I know. I
those?
just basically had them. I called it the Y-Files, guys. I called it the Y-Files.
I love it. Here's $1 million.
It's about internet connections in your office.
It's about
That's
Nancy
it.
Kerrigan.
Yeah, it's
story.
about why,
What a deep cut.
why? That
can't
was
say
it.
why
Yeah, you
without
went
deep
there.
hit, deep knee hit. Time for road questions. We should just bring you on just every week just to do that part.
Yeah.
Cool.
Guys with my ham horn.
My ham horn. Who wants a ham? Guys, this is this week. These are questions that we don't know what the questions say, and I don't know how to read. But we're gonna find out some quick answers for some rogue questions. Number one, this week is the 20th anniversary of the release of the Blair Witch Project. What's the most scared you've ever been in a movie theater? Were we in the same
Paranormal
movie?
Activity,
Paranormal
I think,
Activity.
yeah.
We went to go see Paranormal
Oh.
Activity, and every time it became night, because it would get extra
It'd
scary.
reset, yeah.
And we were in that theater, and it was like hundreds of people in that theater, and it was like you could hear a pin drop in one of the moments, and then it just said like night 2 or something,
Yeah.
and you just heard one guy just go, no.
Didn't he say, I hate nights?
Yeah, he said. Then he said, "I hate nights." nights.
That was awesome.
But that was like we were in
We all felt it,
college, and
yeah.
our friends were like they couldn't sleep alone. Like it was a whole
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
That guy directed Midsommar now, and there's no
Yeah,
Nightmare.
exactly.
No, it's not.
Do you guys have
Ari
any
Aster.
real scaredness in theaters?
I do this thing, and my therapist is gonna get a kick if he ever hears this. I like cross my
fan.
arms for comfort, and then I just like I shut down like emotionally. So I
I
don't.
do that too.
And so like whatever happens, like I don't care because I'm not here. You know,
It's like the little Men in Black alien in your head, like goes like
he
downstairs
leaves,
and just
yeah,
like
he
leaves.
like
Yeah,
goes to the
totally.
bathroom, and I just
You
like,
go to stasis.
and like, I'm like, whatever could happen, it doesn't matter now. I'm a quiet
I
place.
literally, I do the
I
exact
do that,
same
yeah,
thing. I
like-
do that at the Universal Studios when they do the big horror nights here in LA. They followed me around because they were like, somebody's got to get this girl. And I know, and I just kind of don't spook. But I do remember, so it made me go way, way back because I saw Jurassic Park in the theaters. And when she thinks Samuel L. Jackson's there, and then she grabs it, and it's just his arm, and then the raptor pops out. I remember being like, so I mean, but I was really little.
I wish they brought Sam Jackson back in a later movie and he just doesn't have an arm.
He just doesn't
It's just like,
He
I
was
was
left
fine.
me.
Yeah.
He has an
Yeah,
eye
exactly.
patch on his arm.
You guys left me.
That's a fine Sam Jackson. Guys, Kingsman creator Mark Millar predicted on Twitter that Taron Egerton will, I kind of like this, will probably be the next Wolverine.
Ooh.
So who remember that he just did the Elton John biopic, so who can do an impression of Wolverine singing an Elton John song?
Benny in the chest.
Rocket Man.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh no, that's him crying.
Did he sing Crocodile Rock?
Yeah.
The thing called a crocodile rock.
He is a crocodile.
And I'll just say that it's exactly Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman, and you guys just butchered what you could have done. He has a beautiful voice, Wolverine, his singing voice. Margot Robbie said this week that she's never seen any Star Wars movie and never will. Which is like
Get it,
now
girl.
somebody's gonna make her.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I love this.
She's
what's
a time
your
traveler. She knows her future.
what's your yeah, exactly, she knows where everything's
I'll
going.
never see it.
What's your stubborn pop culture blind spot? So I'll say it's not necessarily stubborn, but I keep trying Doctor Who. I've tried it so many times, and there's so many different ways you could go in and watch it, and I start to fall asleep, and oh man, So what's up for you guys?
Right now it's gaming. Like I don't play game. I had to swear off games in high school because I was an advanced academic program. But like everything,
And you
video
never
games
stop bringing it up.
2003 on. So when people tweet me stuff, do you see the new Red Dead trailer? Did you see the? Yeah, I have to sit out of it. Convince me to pick it back up.
Just all the sign.
Yeah.
But blind spots pop culturally.
I have this habit where whenever something's hot, so like True Detective, I always wait for it to be over because I have such trust issues with shows ending.
Getting burned.
Oh yeah, and so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like get at me when it's over and see how you feel now.
You should try Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Nah, I loved it.
Game of Thrones, speaking of, received a record-breaking 32 Emmy nominations this week. Did you guys hear also the thing about Gwendolyn Christie?
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
submitted
Yeah,
herself.
Yes,
HBO,
girl.
for you guys that don't know, HBO did not submit her for Emmy consideration, so she submitted herself and she got nominated.
Nice.
So always be your own biggest champion.
Yeah.
Who else in the cast deserves the Emmy the most, though?
I would say Alfie Allen. Man, that guy like
That arc?
Oh,
Yeah, that
he's
arc
so
in that final
good.
season, I thought it was great. Did he get nominated? I'm not sure if he got
Yeah, he
nominated.
No,
did,
he
he
got
did.
that diss music video from his older sister. Did you see that?
Yeah,
From
Lily Allen wrote that song called Alfie, making fun of him.
Amelia Clark, I think she had a lot of
She
work
had
to
something
do.
to
She had a
pull off.
lot of work to do.
And you think she pulled it off?
I mean, I think she did her job to the best that she
I
could.
agree with that.
You know
I
what
back that.
you do? You have to submit the one scene where they tried to put a whole season's worth of story on her face.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She just
yeah,
like,
just the one shot.
Yeah.
oh,
But-
she has full conversation.
Even that really memey thing of like her fake smile when she talks to Sansa, you know that like you see
Yeah, I thought
everywhere.
that was great.
But like that's a great performance because it's
Yeah.
a fake smile. and,
Yeah.
like, it's I don't know. I thought she did a lot.
That's a good call. That's your answer too.
Yeah, I
Sweet.
back that.
Godzilla. Hey,
Oh, shit.
you are not allowed to answer this one.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. Got a Twitter and Instagram. That's what the Matrix says. Instagram account this week. How does Godzilla slide into your DMs? I mean,
He don't slide. Oh wait, on his tail. He slides on the tail rail. Look, guys, look it up. Godzilla has a move where he slides on his tail with his feet forward, and he slams into Megalon.
How does he slide in like a city?
I mean,
there's
if
a
he
lot of
wanted to,
damage,
he could go
but-
on his tail.
Yikes. Okay. Anybody else have
I'm
a?
telling you, there's an actual way.
There was
to
just
do
an
it.
answer. Yeah, that was the actual.
So
Yeah.
just we're gonna go anatomical.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet.
Tail.
Bud Light has offered free beer to any alien that escapes Area 51.
Is that why this is all being talked about?
No, it's
No,
all,
it's just
like
a brand jumping on this social media.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a meme thing.
Yeah.
So what's the best part about having a drunk alien? Does that happen to E.T.? Does he get drunk?
Well, Elliot. Oh yeah, E.T. drinks the
Yeah.
beer in the fridge, and Elliot
Right,
gets
right.
drunk.
And then he sleeps with someone and regrets it. E.T. gotta
Predator.
go home. So
Just waddling.
yeah, exactly.
Best thing about drunk alien, they misuse their tech and they blow up the friends that you don't like.
I feel like they'd stop lying and just being like, "Look, you guys are effed."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bro,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you straight.
Yeah. To serve human.
Yeah.
Or to
Yeah.
serve
Yeah,
man.
yeah, to serve-
We're gonna
It's
eat
a
you guys. Yeah.
Just let us all know what 42 means. All right, guys. The city of West Palm Beach. Sorry, I forgot to do that. The city of West Palm Beach, Florida, is playing the Baby Shark song on loop to drive homeless people out of sleeping in their park. What song would drive you out of a park?
What was it? There's that Easy Street song from Walking Dead that they used to torture Daryl. We're on Easy Street.
Oh,
It
God.
feels so sweet. The writer of the song was like, I just wrote that Happy Kid song. And they used it for torture in a TV show.
I mean, anything cranberries, like
Really?
I'm not
Really?
I can't do it.
Turns you into a zombie.
Yeah.
Zombie, zombie.
Yeah.
Linger
for me,
around that.
I gotta
Yeah.
go. I have to go.
It's
Yeah.
because you
won't
I
linger?
must go now. My planet needs me.
Like I think there's like
Linger.
an amount of reggaeton that would
Linger.
like make me really excited to be in a park and then like make me kill myself.
Yeah.
So that was the last question, but since this is Rogue Theory, as we're fading out, by the way, that's it for this episode of Rogue Theory. Thank you so much for going rogue with us and our guest Haley Mancini. Where can we find you?
At Haley Mancini or at _Godzilla ZERO.
Oh.
Ooh, nice. David Dong.
David Dong at David P. Dong, and it's all just pictures of me in swimsuits. So
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
Shots fired at me. And Eric,
At
what do we have?
EA Voss, it's in the name. Is that a gaming reference? I wouldn't know. Is that like a-
And real quick,
You brought it up.
real quick, what do we have coming up this week? Obviously, Comic-Con.
yeah, everything Comic-Con. So you might already be on the channel, a breakdown of the It trailer shot by shot with our good friend Marina. And then
awesome.
we're doing some other, everything else that has come out that I already know about because I didn't tape this episode before we learned what big things Marvel has released.
Philip Molina at Philip Molina. I never tell people what my name is at the beginning of this. But this is it. The episode ends, except I just want to talk to you guys about what we think is really going on in Area 51. These are the rogue theories I want to have. You guys can have a good time. Thank you so much for this episode. Okay, but seriously, aliens or dead aliens?